Hi, welcome to So You Ruined the Party Again, the podcast about you being a terrible person, but you will do better next year, maybe. Today we have Steev Letts. That's our guest. He's signed with Yuck Yucks, and his first comedy album will be coming out with 604 Records on February 20th. Hello, Steve.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me.
And we also have here today with our sound engineer, Alexi Johnson, also known as Young Alexi on the Comedy Here Often
Young
podcast. Yeah. Bobby is not here for this episode because I didn't remind him because I didn't want to be his mother. And he forgot to come. But he'll be on the next episode.
He's got an acute case of being 23. But
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
going to be fine. It's okay.
I was like, he's a responsible 23-year-old, but he's not. Okay, so the weekend just happened, so did anyone do anything interesting?
Interesting, not especially. Actually, on Friday night, I went to a party that's called Barracuda. That's like a quarterly party here in town. That's like a gay party for like big scruffy dudes.
Why is it called Barracuda? Okay, yes.
Barracuda.
Yes.
Like, yeah, so yeah, it's a quarterly party, and they just moved into a new space that's on Seymour. So went to that on Friday night, and it's like, it wasn't exciting. Every time I go to one of these parties, I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, because there are three, like, there's always the back room, which is like the sex area, and then there's the dance floor, and then there's people fucking in the dark, or there's people dancing on the dance floor, or there's dudes like me just sort of holding the periphery, getting wasted, and watching people dance and thinking about going into the back room.
So there's an actual fuck room?
There is, yeah. At some dance parties in certain spaces, there are back rooms where people go to have anonymous fun in the dark.
But what if you fuck on the dance floor? Do you get in trouble then?
Well, if it's not really. It depends on the party and how busy it is. So if there's often some dick out fun on the dance floor at these parties, or at certain bars too. Like if you go to the United States, there's a bar called the Eagle in a lot of different cities. That's like, some of them have a bathtub in the bathroom, so if someone wants to lay down and get pissed on, they're free to do so.
God.
And they blare hardcore porn on large flat screens in like every area of the bar, which makes me feel like a prude because I'm uncomfortable with it because I can't hold a conversation when someone's getting blasted on a giant screen 10 feet away from me.
Oh, I definitely can.
So is this Eagle, is this a chain?
Yes, there's a chain of bars called the Eagle, and they're like scuzzy fun, but people know what they're getting into there, and nobody gets hurt that doesn't want to. I'm sure some do have glory holes, yes.
I've never seen one in real life, and I just want to one day.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think there are a lot of glory holes in ladies' rooms. So it's harder for you to come across.
That's true. No one wants a woman to suck their dick.
Heaven forbid. But yeah, so that was probably the most interesting thing I did this weekend, and then spent the rest of it listening to audiobooks, because that's what I'm into lately.
Ooh, I couldn't get into audiobooks, right? Do you listen to audiobooks, Lexi?
Yeah, I mean, like, I like the idea of them. I like being like, man, there's so much I can learn, and I don't even have to sit down and read a book, but I never actually do it.
Right, and it's I should like clarify, they're not like, it's not philosophy, or I'm not like reading Dostoevsky or anything like that. It's like the writers that people recommend, a collection of essays here. I actually listened to Demi Moore's memoir on audiobook.
Is it good?
It's very good. Also, her voice is just so awesome that I was totally.
That's true.
And I have Michelle Obama's memoir queued up, but there's like a 6-month waiting period. Flea's as well. Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
excited for those memoirs.
I have read Scar Tissue, of course.
Right, so good.
As everyone else. I feel like everyone's read Scar Tissue, but we never talk about how fucked up it is. Right. He's literally like sexually assaulted as a child, and he's writing about it like it's this normal thing.
Worse even, like if you read The Dirt, the Motley Crue, like they basically admit to raping chicks, and people are like, oh man, you could party in the 80s.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like someone passed out in a broom closet. I can't remember the whole thing, but there's like some admitted horrible things in that book, and people are like, oh man, wild times. I'm like, these guys are fucking creeps.
My mom loves that book.
It is good. It is like, it is juicy.
What did you do this weekend, Lexi?
I went to a friend's birthday, and we were at Back and Forth. It was just like a nice little easy time. And they're like, oh, hey, we're going to go to
Back and Forth is the ping pong bar in Gastown?
Yeah.
Right.
I've never heard of that.
It's like fun. It's just like a bunch of ping pong tables, and like everyone just ping pong all night. And
they serve Lucky Lager.
Oh yeah.
So they're good in my books.
It's a fun little place. It's nice and chill, you know. Like you don't want to go out and dance. You just want to hang out.
Yeah.
And a couple of my friends, they're like, "Oh, well, we're gonna go to Open Studios." Have you ever been to Open Studios?
No, what is that?
I've never heard of it until we went there. And it was like we get there, we're thinking like, oh, chill night at ping pong. Like, sure, wherever you take us now, this Open Studios sounds fun and chill. It was like a rave. And I'm like in there, and I mean, like it's fine. I just wasn't on that plane. Like I'd been playing ping pong all night. I'm like, this is
Yeah,
not,
that would be
this is a big
terrifying.
jump.
All those high people. Yeah.
And someone threw up, and then I found out it was my friend. Like discreetly threw up while we were there, and nobody knew. And all of a sudden, we had someone cleaning up the puke. We're like, oh man, that sucks. Like, someone can't hold their liquor, and it was my friend.
And shit, like they admitted on the way home, like the barf was me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
I know.
I once puked on a VIT table while exiting a Vegas strip club, like on our way out. Like, there's the VIP section, and I just like, oh no, I have to throw up right now, and just leaned over and barfed on it. It was empty, but it had a reserve sign on it.
Oh no.
And just kept walking. So sorry to the
yeah.
staff at the Glitter Gulch for my bad behavior.
I feel like Vegas people are used to it. Like I got so wasted at Mandalay Bay that they literally had to like carry me and put me in a taxi. And I lost like my camera and my credit card that night. It was I was by myself though. I was on a crawl because I went with my parents to Vegas. So I was like, well, I don't have any friends here. I'll go on a crawl. But I didn't realize that in the States their drinks are so much more liquor.
Oh yeah. Did you order a double somewhere?
Oh, I ordered like double tequilas, like 2. That's literally like 8 ounces.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bad news.
Yeah, it was really bad. Yeah. This weekend I did the Penthouse, and for some reason, like I didn't drink that much. I had like 3 glasses of wine, but for some reason I was lit. And then I was walking home and I was in such a good mood that I was like, you know what? Granville on a Saturday's okay.
When it is actually just the worst.
Yeah, the worst. And then I saw this couple and I could tell they wanted to kiss, but they weren't like, neither of them would make the first move. So I started yelling, kiss, 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 kiss. Like by myself. And they kissed. I did it.
That's wonderful.
Yay. You did that for them.
Yeah, I like should not be alone and be drunk. Yeah. Do you guys want to get into some party stories?
All right,
Steve?
let's do it.
Time for your main attraction. Party.
Time I ruined the party. I had a few to choose from for stories about ruining a party because I like to get sauce. But one in particular, I once ruined one of my cousin's weddings. Back when I was in my early 20s, my cousin Lindsay had a big, beautiful, traditional wedding in Hamilton, Ontario, where most of my family is from. And this would have been one of the first weddings I attended as a man of legal drinking age. And so I don't remember if it was open bar, but either way, I way overdid it very fast and proceeded to get white trash wasted. I should also mention that at this point in my life, I was still in the process of coming out to my extended family. And the whole thing was looming on my head really large, and I was just worried about it. So my family are good people, but they're super Catholic. So I thought it was going to be this big ordeal, but I still wanted to get it out of the way. And so at some point in the evening, after all the speeches and shit were done, I was having a discussion with my cousin who said something about my grandmother knowing my secret. This would turn out to actually mean nothing, but I thought for sure it meant my grandma knew I was queer. So I decided I had to talk to her immediately. And so I found her at a table and started dramatically crying and telling her everything. And like usually as a blackout drinker, my brain will do me the solid of wiping my memory clean so that I don't have to relive the embarrassment. And so, for example, I don't remember the grad camping trip where I got blotto and gushed to a bunch of my straight guy friends about my high school crushes before passing out onto a campfire. I don't remember my sister dragging me out of a Feist concert because I pre-gamed too hard and started screaming about white people at a Feist concert.
What do you mean screaming about white people?
Something about too many white people in the room. I don't know. My sister got me the fuck out of there. I do not remember that. But I do remember killing the vibe at my cousin's wedding and ugly crying to my grandmother about being a homosexual. I remember the room screeching to a halt and everybody looked horrified but pretended not to notice what was going on. I remember blowing snot rockets in the parking lot while I cry smoked afterward. And I'll never forget when we got home and continued the conversation in the backyard, my grandfather asking me if I had taken a lover yet.
Oh my god.
I would later find comfort in learning that my incident, although unquestionably awkward and gossip-worthy, was not the only shit show of the evening.
Oh, really?
Another one of my cousins fist-fought his brother-in-law at that wedding, and one of the groom's aunts would start a year-long feud that night by running her mouth about the groom's father not being invited. Although that feud might not have started if I hadn't told the groom that she was running her mouth, so that's technically on me too. So I kind of ruined that wedding twice. I got married recently and we did a super small intimate elopement, so I have not been able to repay that cousin, but she has permission to hit the whiskey hard and break into an off-key Danny Poi before shitting herself at my funeral. That's the time I ruined a party.
I love that.
So was that basically you coming out then?
Just to my so the thing is you come out 100 times, right? You like,
Oh, yes.
I mean, I've heard of stories of people who just like send a send all to their entire contact list.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, you start with your close friends and then your siblings and whatever. So the only people left were my super Catholic wing of the family out in Ontario. And I should also mention that all of them have been awesome and gracious and they love my husband and whatever. But this, back when I was in my early 20s, I thought it was going to be like a big deal, and it wasn't. So I just made an ass out of myself for no reason. And that next morning, waking up and being like, I had probably 3 minutes after getting out of bed and like drinking water in the bathroom before I remembered everything that had happened. And I can't remember a wave of terror worse than that one. That was a rough morning.
Yeah, it's the worst when you wake up, you don't really remember anything, and then you're like, oh no.
Yeah, the brief flashes are worse for sure.
I have been waking up with drunk shame like before I'm like fully awake. So I just wake up feeling just shame. And I'm like, oh no, something's happened. I don't know what. Kind of ties in with whatever dream I was having. And then I have to figure out like what actually happened.
And you always wake up so much earlier than you usually would.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's gotten worse. Have you found too, like as I've entered, like come into my 30s or whatever? Because when I was young, I used to like be able to wake up and just have a glass of water and be fine. And now like the 2-day hangover is real. And like, just the waking up early after, even if you like went hard, those are rough mornings.
Yeah, if I have more than 3 drinks, it's a hangover.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I like had like maybe 4 or 5 drinks like 2 days ago and I'm still feeling it.
How old are you? I thought you were like 24 or something.
25.
Okay, yeah, it's coming.
It'll get worse.
It'll definitely get worse.
Oh God.
That's what sucks. It's like the older you get, the more you need alcohol, but then you can't handle it.
That's true. That's sad but true.
What's your story, Alexi?
Oh my God. Okay. So it wasn't me that ruined the party. It was somebody else, but they kind of did it to me.
Oh,
so
like a friend or?
No, I was okay. So I'm at this house party. So a bunch of my friends like live in this big, I'd say like a mansion on the west side, and they just there's like 5 of them, and they just rent it all together, and it's like a wicked deal. I don't know how they got it. So they'd have all these parties and, it'd just be wild and I'd be meeting all these new people at every party. And they had like this pool in the basement of their house. So that ties into it. I'm at this party and I'm like hanging out with all my friends and I like look over and I see this one girl and she looks terrified. She looks really scared and just uncomfortable. And I'm like, oh, like I'm drunk. And I'm like, I need to go help her. I need to be like the angel for her. So I go over and I'm like, hey girl, you okay? Like come hang out with me. And she starts telling me about like all this stuff and like, just messed up stuff about her life and everything. And I'm like, it's okay, girl, you come hang out with me. It'll be fine. We'll have fun. So we're hanging out. And then at a certain point, she's like, I want to go swimming downstairs. And I'm like, well, I didn't bring my bathing suit, so I don't really want to, but I'll like go with you. So we went down to the pool, and she like gets in the pool right away, and she's swimming around. She's like, come on, come on. She's like
in her clothes, or
she like strips down to like her underwear,
okay.
basically, and like goes into the pool, and she's like, come on, come swim with me. And she like keeps goading me to go swimming. So finally I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go swimming. So I like strip down to my underwear too, and we're swimming around in the pool, and then she just kind of flips like she was a nice girl and everything.
Did she try to drown you?
Can you imagine?
Jesus.
Could you imagine? I could imagine. That's why.
That really seems like that's where the story is going too. Pretty close though. So she's like, all of a sudden, like she was like a really nice girl that whole night, and we're swimming around, and all of a sudden she's just kind of like barking orders at me. She's like, go get my this, go do this, like, and I was like, whoa, was not expecting that to happen. So I kind of get out of the pool, and we both like get out and get dressed and everything, and we go and hang out with a couple of our friends, and we're standing there, and this whole time this girl had been telling me about this guy that she came with and how he was like really mean to her, and I'm like, well, stay away from him, don't go. She's like, I don't want to go home with him. I'm like, don't go home with him. Stay with us. And right then, as we had gotten out of the pool, the guy comes down to where we are, and she's like, oh, come over here, come like hang out with us. She's like, I missed you. And then I was like, okay, that's weird, something's up there. And then she tells me to go away, even though I was just standing there with my friend. She's like, go hang out around the corner. She's like, yeah, it was weird. And she's like, go hang out around the corner. And then the guy that I was talking to, she's like, you go wait upstairs. It was just like, just telling us like what to do. And we're like, that's weird. We're not going to do that. We're going to go do whatever we were going to do. So me and my friend walk off, and we're like, no, that was really weird. Like, this girl's just kind of barking orders at us. She was so nice. And I'm like, I've got my hands on my hip, and I'm like, man, that's so weird. And I bring my hands to my mouth, and I smell shit.
What?
There's shit on my hand. So, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
There was like just I looked down, and I could see like a little bit of shit on my hand.
Where did this come from? Where was the poo?
Yeah. Okay. So then I like look down. There's like a little bit of shit like on the front of my pants too, and I'm like, what? And right away I was like, the girl. It was her somehow. So what we figured out, what we figured out, and this is all kind of conjecture at this point, but I think when she wanted to go swimming, I think what had happened was she was coming down off of a trip, and that's why she looked so scared, and that's why she was telling me all this stuff about her life, is because she was just on that plane. And I think at some point, I think she shot herself, and I think she thought, hey, we'll go into the pool, and I'll wash it off, it'll be fine. It'll be like, it didn't happen. But then she's like, oh, but shit, there's going to be shit in the pool. So I need to bring someone in with me so I don't look like the girl that brought shit into the pool. So I think that's why she was pressuring me to go swimming, too. And as soon as she realized, okay, now I have someone else in the pool with me, so they can't really tie it into me, then she flipped, and she's like, get the fuck away from me.
Holy shit. That is the most sociopathic shit I've ever heard
Yeah,
in my
crazy.
life. That's terrifying.
Well, because then the next day, the guys, they're like friends of mine, and they asked, because as soon as I realized there was shit on my hand at the party, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I started crying, because I'm like, how did I get shit on me?
Yeah.
And we just knew right away. We're like, nobody else went swimming that night. It was just me and that girl.
Did they find shit in the pool?
They
the
found
next day?
shit on the side of the pool, like where
So
she would have sat down.
She
and
wiped her butt on the side of the pool.
And she made you go in the water with her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Ew,
awful.
you could have got like pink eye
Yeah, I know. It was
or dysentery.
it was fucked.
That's awful. So did you ever see this person again?
I saw her later on that night after I had like pretty much figured out that this had all happened. I put it all together with me and my friends, with me crying and just trying to figure it out. And she comes up and she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad I found you. I so don't want to go home with that guy." And I'm like, "Take a cab and go home.
Yeah.
Leave me alone."
I can't believe, like, I mean, first of all, I would never do any of those things. But, like, if I were to shit myself at a party and then like pull some cockamamie scheme to like try and find a scapegoat and leave remnants in the pool or whatever, you know what I'd do immediately after? I would leave that fucking party.
yeah.
You know what I
As soon
mean?
as I shit my pants, I would wrap something around my waist like a diaper.
Tuck
to get
my
out of
jeans
there.
into my socks and trudge home like an adult.
Yeah. And she slept there too, apparently.
Oh my
That's what my
God.
friends were saying.
So
'cause
she just
There was-
slept with a butt, like a underwear full of shit. Like,
Oh man, that's very upsetting.
yeah.
There was a house party that I didn't go to when we were in high school, but it was at this like these two guys that I went to school with. They had like the cool parents who let you like do mushrooms at their house or whatever, and they always had parties on weekends. And this one weekend, this girl who was kind of an asshole, so there was like some shade in Fred when this happened, but she like got super wasted and passed out in this guy's truck, and then I guess this was like pre-flat tummy tea, so she had like hit the laxatives really hard to try and lose weight, and she shit herself all over the cab of this guy's truck. No. So we had to like drag her out and like hose his truck out and sell it, and it was this like horrible thing.
oh my God, I have one too. I just heard about this. There was this woman. Okay, in my high school, there was this girl who mistook the couch for a toilet.
Like in her sleep, she woke up.
When she was drunk, she just shit on the couch. Like literally took her pants down, took a shit on the couch. She thought it was a toilet.
Oh my God. Because you always hear stories about people getting up in their sleep and thinking they're in a bathroom in a dream and peeing on something. Like that happened at actually the same house where the girl shit herself. Another night, this guy got up in the middle of the night and just pulled it out over the end of the bed because he thought he was in the bathroom and just pissed all over this bed.
Oh no.
Yeah. That's why you don't have the party house. You go to the party house.
Yeah. But like that. I've literally never had a piss or poop situation drunk. You know?
Really?
Yeah, I've never pissed myself drunk. Never pissed in a weird area. Well, I've had to pee outside, but
Right. I
You
mean,
know.
that's not the same. I did once when I lived in Florida briefly. I worked at Epcot Center at Walt Disney World when I was younger. And there was one night there when I got sensationally wasted and peed on a wall next to a window. And woke up in the morning and my roommate was like, "Did you pee out the window or next to it? Because I'm pretty sure the floor is wet there." And I was like, that was pretty humiliating. But I like just cleaned it up very, very thoroughly. And we joked about it for the rest of the time that I lived there. I actually had a roommate in my previous place where I stayed in Florida because I got moved around from a couple condos, and I had a French roommate who got super wasted. I woke up to this thud of him landing face down on the floor, and he proceeded to get up and walk over to my bedside table and pull his dick out, and I knew what was happening, so I leapt out of bed and grabbed him by the shoulders. It was like, "Nico, this is not the bathroom."
Yeah.
And so I like wandered him, like sort of nudged him into the bathroom. I pulled his underwear down to his ankles and held his shoulders while he pissed all over the toilet and floor, and then put him to bed because it felt like the right thing to do. And I was like, he needs to empty the tank so this doesn't happen on my stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He was grateful for it.
So that was TMI corner. We usually start. It just happened by itself.
Come along, kids. It's TMI Corner.
I love TMI corner. I do we have time for my story? No, we don't. Don't worry. Like we'll do it on the next one.
I'll have to listen.
But okay, so this is a new segment. I created it because Steve's on the episode, but I thought Bobby would be here but it's called Cat Corner. So I'm cat sitting right now, a cat named Sparta, who
A gray tabby, if your Instagram serves me well.
Yes. Sparta will not leave me alone.
Oh, really?
I live in a studio apartment. You know those cats that follow you so much that you will trip over it while
Right.
you're walking anywhere?
Ones who think you can see them, but you can't.
Yeah. But she's actually a good cat. She's nice to me.
I prefer a sucky or like a needy cat to one that's just like under the bed scowling all day, you know?
Yeah.
And I get they all like difficult cats need homes too, but one of the prerequisites for getting our cat was like, I just want one who likes attention because I like to pet and scratch the kitty, you know?
I do like a bitchy cat. Like
I respect a bitchy
Yeah.
cat, but Yeah, the cat I had growing up was this, like, he looked Himalayan. He had this huge, gorgeous mane, and he used to like crawl on me every night and purr so hard that he would drool. And if I would fall asleep before he was done getting pet, he would hook my septum with one claw just in the middle of my nose, just like, nope, you're not done, and then you'd wake up in excruciating pain and keep petting him. So yeah, I like a needy cat.
Yeah. Who's your cat?
Oh, my cat. My cat is actually at my parents', but I've had her like since 2000. She's old. She's like 18, 19 years old. She's a very old cat.
Yeah.
And her name is Kitty.
Kitty. I love it.
Yeah.
Say what you want about the artist, but Katy Perry's cat is named Kitty Purry, and that's pretty awesome, you have to admit.
I love that.
Great.
I really love that. I love like cats that will like fuck with your shit.
Yeah,
Like
I
knock
kind
things off.
I long-term cat sit sometimes, and I had this one cat who's like the love of my life. His name's Yogi, and he was so angry, but I liked that about him. He would like slap my face while I was sleeping. I was like,
Our cat Rupert like much prefers the company of my husband. He's like, he loves Peter. Peter has this like Snow White effect where like woodland creatures just crawl on him. He's like big and safe. But so yeah, but even though he much prefers Peter, he also like that's who he wants to feed him too. So sometimes at like 5 a.m, he'd come into our bedroom and swat things off of Peter's nightstand as soon as he sees him stirring a bit. Like, you need to get up and feed me. That always gives me a good laugh. Although we just shut him out of the room at night, so we don't come up at 5.
yeah, you have to do that sometimes. Yeah, my parents have this cat named. So this is a orange tabby.
Mm-hmm. They're all slutty.
Yeah, my mom got this cat, and then she was like, "It's your cat." And I was like, "Okay," but it's not really my cat. It's her. I wanted to name it Conebone after Conan O'Brien, and she was like, "No, we're naming it Rusty." But he's obese now, which I like. I like a thick cat.
Did you see on Bridget Everett's Instagram this past week? She posted a video that's like live footage of me in Paris right now, and it's just like a super obese tabby cat wrestling with a baguette. It's
So cute.
the cutest thing ever. Should we watch it real quick?
Yes.
Oh yeah, YouTube videos.
Oh, sweet.
I can't even see these videos.
Okay, yeah, show us that one then.
I'll show you that, but it doesn't translate to.
Okay, show us after, and then.
Okay.
So we're gonna do your favorite YouTube video. This will
Yes.
be the last segment. Which one of you wants to go first?
You go ahead,
Okay.
unless you don't have it queued up, and then I can go ahead.
I've got it right here. Mine is super short, and it's more to do with her face, but I mean,
But anything she does is funny.
yes, this is Cardi B on a talk show. I don't even know what this show is.
Are you paying both of their rent?
Yes.
You know you're not paying their rent.
And it's more like her face, but
Is it? She kind of looks like an alien for a second.
yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I believe. Oh, whoa! Just started going without me. I'm pretty sure that was like a reunion for Love and Hip Hop, which is the reality show that she was on before the whole before she took off. So mine is also a clip of Cardi B from her Instagram, and it shows her discussing her battle with facial hair.
You know, as I get older and I wax more, I notice that my mustache is getting thicker. But it's cool though, because bitches with mustaches got good pussy. Patience. What? Am I right? Right, sis. Talk about it, bitch.
I love her.
That's my favorite.
I love her so much.
Yeah, she rules.
I like Cardi B. I used to follow her when Tumblr had porn. I used to follow her. Now I don't really go on Tumblr anymore.
No, that's the point.
I didn't know they used to have porn.
Oh, it was like it
It was like a huge big deal when they did away with it.
yeah.
Oh.
Because it didn't make you feel dirty because you were just looking through your dashboard. You were just kind of like looking at pages. It was like there was no trail.
Right.
No one knew what you were really
You're
up
always
to.
on incognito mode.
Oh, how did this get here?
But now you're like, you have to actually go look at porn and you just feel disgusting.
I know, and like you have to like Google very specific things, and it's
yeah.
it's upsetting.
Yeah.
You learn a lot about yourself from your Google searches.
Oh, I
too.
do. I do incognito now.
Oh,
I
yes.
like that.
You can do it and then forget about it.
Yeah, Except when you bookmark things, then it just stays in your regular bookmark, and then you're like, oh, bro.
I can't bookmark anything. It's too risky.
You know what once happened to me? I once took my laptop in to get the hard drive replaced and didn't realize that there was like a porn DVD in it. And so when I went to pick it up, like these sons of bitches at the fucking Genius Bar or whatever took it out and put it in an envelope as opposed to just putting it back in the drive.
just put it
like
back.
nothing happened. They put it, and like when they gave it back to me, it was like in this envelope that had like a cellophane front, so you could still see the graphic of the dude with like a shirt off wearing a tie or whatever. It was like so corny and embarrassing.
Oh my god.
Oh, are you into those office guy porns?
No, you know what? This was like back in the day. I used to. We're back in TMI corner now.
This whole
Here we are
episode
again.
was TMI corner.
I used to live like between my bus stop and my apartment building when I lived on South Granville. There was an adult store, and this was like early aughts, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so when I was drunk, sometimes I would just go in and buy porn because it just was fun. And so I didn't even remember having that video until I got to the Genius Bar and was like, oh yeah, I bought a porn DVD and left it in my computer. Cool.
Back in the day when I used to just like take my brother's porn, like he, or I would look at his computer and be like, what websites is he going to? And I still go to the same website, and it's like this really like, I told all the male comics, and they were like, oh, that's so old school. I was like, oh, it's old school. Yeah, you guys, xnxx.com.
Oh yes, it's been a minute. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I still go there.
Okay, this is the end. You guys want to plug anything, Steve?
My album Burger Queen comes out on 604 Records on February 20th.
Burger King.
Burger Queen.
So excited.
And me and Lexi are actually shooting the cover for it in a couple of weeks. We're very,
nice.
very excited for it.
Should be very
Other than
fun.
that, nothing to plug. No major. Oh, I'll no. By the time this comes out.
Yeah, it'll probably be like January or February.
Yeah, I think
January
so.
probably. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Lexi?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, well, I guess maybe my crossover to the Comedy Here Often podcast too, where
Yeah.
you can
There you
also
go.
find me.
Yeah, you can find young Alexi.
Young Lexi.
Young Lexi.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah.
Young Lexi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Young Lexi. Well, I guess, I don't know. We haven't really decided on it yet. I need to figure it out because I have to get stickers made.
Oh, really?
No,
If you
want
go young
stickers
like
made.
the rapper spelling YUNG and then Lexi, you could get it tattooed across your knuckles too.
Oh, I should do that.
Young Lexi it is. We just figured it out.
Oh,
Code
yes.
cracked.
I
You
love
could
it.
even get a fake tattoo if you didn't want to commit.
I honestly would commit though. Like,
really?
I'm like that with like I don't have any tattoos, but I'm just like any sort of opportunity like that comes up, I'll just jump on it. Like my friend and I, we were filming his music video, which we have since filmed, and his song was called Taboo, and his sister's a tattoo artist, and I'm like, hey, you know, it'd be really cool in your music video if we just opened it with me getting a tattoo of Taboo. And then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. And I was like, I'm still like,
Wow.
yeah, just
What happened? Why didn't it?
she didn't bring her gear.
Oh, dang.
Stupid bitch.
Okay, we'll end on that. Okay.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, thanks for coming, and thanks for stepping in, Alexi. Okay, bye.
Bye.
So you ruined the party again with
Randy and Bobby. Ta-ta and farewell.